Guru from the Blessed One, Tathagata and the head completely. Namo Guru, Teacher, Blessed One, and the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, surrounded by your sons, the Buddhas of the 10 directions, and all Bodhisattvas. Guru from the Blessed.
Nice one. Ah, he's alive. Good to see you.
Music.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a bit crammed in there. So I think we should cut out some of it.
Well, we've got 5-minute meditation on emptiness. We can leave that out.
Yes.
Is it 5 minutes for the recitation of the mantra?
Yeah. I think we should cut that down to 2 minutes.
For recitation of the mantra?
Yeah.
And for emptiness meditation, just leave out altogether?
Yeah, because, okay. And what I'm thinking is that for the first session,
Yeah.
we should do two minutes for that.
2 minutes for that, yeah.
And stop there.
Stop there, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the first bit, and then you start to talk.
talk, yes.
Right.
And for the second and third session, we just do liberation, miss out liberation prayer.
Yeah.
Just do good direction and generation body teaching.
Yeah.
And go straight to the essence of wisdom.
The reciting this Wisdom Sutra.
And then stop there.
And for refuge.
And body teaching.
Oh, the recitation of the whole
Yeah,
sutra.
that's the important thing.
Yeah. That's the second and third.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that would give us longer for meditation.
Yeah, but you're going to guide.
Explanation.
Yeah, you're going to guide the meditations.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play them on there, am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that you've got 2 cushions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll let you know. I messaged you.
Oh,
I'm
right.
over.
It's just so that my ankle is not getting too
No.
stretched.
Okay, so we've got that support higher up.
Yeah.
Clock's right. Do I wear just the Zen?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why we start with Guru Founder.
You start with Guru Founder, yeah. It's a retreat.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, what's that then?
Good.
Yeah. We had 7 booked in at last count.
Okay. I'll take a couple of minutes.
Yes.
How you doing?
All right. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Can I make a suggestion on your site? Because you said if there's any suggestions.
Aye.
Don't know whether you can do it.
Go ahead.
Put a calendar on it.
On calendar?
Yeah, you know when
website?
you say there's something
Which
in it.
one?
So I don't have to come off it, because I was coming off it to go onto my calendar, because it's saying there's something going on the 18th of September, so I was coming off it, trying to see what day of the week that was. And then going back on, so I don't have to do that.
Shouldn't have to. There we go.
I'm going to make a lie out of me now, aren't I?
Well, no, it's all good. If you couldn't find it, maybe that's the problem. Maybe that is.
That's the way I was coming out to find out. Hi, Courtney. Okay.
That goes.
It might be me because I am a bit rubbish on them as well. So.
Oh, I can't get out to this page. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, I think I've seen it.
Yeah, you can go.
Calendar, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the burger at the top, in the
So welcome on and on.
oh, you're on this.
On that.
Oh, do you use that? That's interesting. Good.
Right.
Oh, there's
I have used that.
There's no link on
There's no link on the date on that, no.
Ah, right.
Right, so it wasn't me then.
No, it's not you. It's me. I was have a look at that. I'm not quite sure what to do.
I thought that was the website that I used on the... So yours isn't that website, is it, that you...
No, it's not our website, but it's our account.
So you the design of the site is not...
Yeah.
No.
We've not designed that.
Right, okay.
Hey, Chris. Hi, Chris. Welcome back.
Yes, same as didn't expect to be here until October, but this is a nice little gift.
Morning. Hey, Rosie. Morning. Morning. Hey, bye,
So where did you stay till?
Elaine.
So I stayed till the Sunday.
Did you?
Yeah, till the Sunday night. And then I went to Colston.
But you still can't. Hey, I didn't stay for that page, and I said it was Sue.
Yeah, well I didn't know I could stay for that one. I had to go and get into my accommodation, so.
I need to get as near as possible as the line up to the microphone as possible.
You don't know that we go next year then, yeah? Next day's right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was good. The temp was really good. I
I'm
was really impressed.
trying to assess the
It did
nearest
rain out on that.
distance to the
Yeah,
microphone.
Yeah.
Necessarily doing more of it.
Alright, you
The
felt...
person should be.
Oh, not me yet. Not me yet. I got me on Friday.
Something
Yeah,
else.
on Friday.
Did you not do any of the... No? So did you go? You didn't go? Oh, right. Oh, well.
See you now. And I have it. Go around. Gosh,
I've
you're okay.
only just finished doing the
So we've got two.
I
summer
have one of my
festival online, and that's only the two options. I didn't do any of the retreat.
Gosh.
So I thought I'll do this today.
Not that one.
There's not that one.
It's not that one. Okay.
You probably still want to go today, isn't it? I've gone to something before that I didn't feel like, I thought I'm not ready for this, so I'm not going to go. And then the way my mind was, I thought, I've got to keep it set. And it was so beneficial.
I'm going to do less than we've got the trains on. You feel it's so cool.
Oh,
I'll take Hampton Bridge next time.
yeah.
And a better coat.
You've just got to be prepared for all weathers up there, haven't you?
It's because it's self-influence. So it's self-influence into the body. So it's in the right about.
Yes, pick up one of these. These are the prayer sadhanas, one each. And that's it, no more left. Okay, so this retreat is a retreat. It's a bit more formal than a normal course that we would perhaps be doing on a Saturday. So don't be freaked out by the formalities. So we do, at the beginning we do what we call, what do we call it? Thank you, I've only been in 5 years. So you do, we just do some prostrations, but you don't need to do those. But it is nice to stand up and do, show reference. And that's it. And then you just follow the sadhana, and then getting to know will guide everything else. So it's really going to be a beautiful occasion to bring our minds down and settle. Good luck.
All right.
It's funny seeing this tattoo well, I can see you with your arm.
Would you keep an eye on his microphone?
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, should we need that table now? We don't need that.
It's in the corner, but
Third or fifth time, I think. Right. Okay, so phones, check your phones, make sure they're on silent or off altogether, or out the room, or in the bin.
Blessed One. Guru Founder, Blessed One, Tathagata and the Head, completely perfect Buddha, great victor Shakyamuni Lord, to you we bow, go for refuge and offer gifts, so please bless us. Guru Founder, Blessed One, Tathagata and the Head, completely perfect Buddha, great victor Shakyamuni Lord, to you we bow, go for refuge and offer gifts, so please bless us. Guru Founder, Blessed One, Tathagata and the Head, completely perfect Buddha, great victor Shakyamuni Lord, to you we bow, go for refuge and offer gifts, so please bless us.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Anybody here for the first time? Special welcome to you. So, my name is Genkel Sanctalopa.
And the microphone's nowhere near.
So, yeah, we can't get good microphone setters these days. So, Buddha gave two types of teachings. One was sutra, the other is tantra. But this class today, this short retreat, this pop-up retreat, is about one of the aspects of Buddha's sutra teachings. So you may understand that the main aspect of Buddha's teachings is compassion and wisdom. It's like two wings of a bird. We need both. We need both compassion and we need wisdom as well, in order to become the best person we can become. We all want to become a better person. We all want to improve ourselves. And so we need to be able to train our mind in these two aspects, compassion and wisdom. So the teachings that we're going to examine today are the nature of wisdom. It's called the teachings on compassion are called the vast path, and the teachings on wisdom are called the profound path, because they're very deep. So we're going to cover very profound issues about reality in this very short retreat. So we need to hear these teachings many, many times until we get a deep understanding of them. And so they begin to affect how we live our lives. The thing about the teachings on wisdom is that it enables us just to relax, because we begin to understand that the way things exist is very different from the way in which we think they exist. Normally we think that everything exists separate from our mind, as if our mind has nothing to do with whatever appears in our life. So we think of mountains and trees and so on, and other people, and they're all out there. And self and mind is in here. And there's a gap between them. So as if what our mind has to do is to get to know everything that's out there. So in the West, we talk about objective reality. We are the subject and everything else is object. So objective reality, the truth. And we think that things exist in exactly the way in which they appear to us. Yeah? Not right? Yes. So, for example, you never think that when you're looking at anything in here, you never think it's part of your mind. You think it's out there, separate. But there is a problem with that we can begin to understand. Because we only know things with our mind. We only know things with our mind. We only understand things with our mind. So if something is separate from your mind, how can you know it? If something is not inside your mind, how can you possibly know it? If something is completely separate from your mind, you can't know it. So everything we know and experience in any moment, in every moment throughout our whole life, everything we know and experience has to be inside our mind. Yeah. Yes. No, you disagree with this. So right now, this whole room is inside your mind. You didn't think your mind was big enough for that. Then normally we think of our mind as just our brain, but our brain is part of our body. And mind is different from body. Mind is like vast empty space, no boundaries. You know, if you think of the moon, where's your mind? It's on the moon. And it can go there in an instant. So, if we understand this, then we understand that if something is inside our mind, the way we think about it, the way we experience it, is dependent upon our mind. So, very quickly, if you're thinking about someone else, and you have an image of who they are, and then you think about a third person, and they're thinking about the same person, and they have a different image of who they are. How would that be possible? It's two different images, or because they're two different minds. And the same applies to you. If you think everyone in this room was thinking about you, would there be just one image of you? One understanding of you? Or would there be 15, 20 versions of you? Think about it. like I say, we're going to have to think about these things many, many times over and over before they begin to affect our daily life. So what we're going to do in this retreat, these teachings come from what's called the Essence of Wisdom Sutra, that were given by Buddha Shakyamuni, 2,500 years ago. And they kind of disappeared until the first century in the Common Era, when this great scholar Nagarjuna reintroduced them into common experience. He began to teach about these wisdom teachings. And then that marks the beginning of what's known as the Mahayana teachings, the great vehicle. And the distinction between what's called Hinayana and Mahayana is that Mahayanists, through these wisdom teachings, understand that every living being can become an awakened one, a Buddha. That's all Buddha means, it just means awakened one. So awakened from the sleep of ignorance. Then this awakening comes through the realization of the nature of things, the nature of who we are and the nature of how other things exist. So the thing is, we're not debating what exists. What we're debating is how things exist. As I said earlier, we think that things exist completely separate. They have their own existence. But with the wisdom teachings, we come to understand that everything is simply an appearance. Okay. So what we're going to do is just go through this sadhana, and particularly the recitation of the Essence of Wisdom Sutra. And what I'll try to do is to give a commentary on part of that. It's called the part is called the Four Profundities, and I'll explain that. It comes up in the paragraph on page 7 that begins, "Form is empty." Just 4 short sentences, and these are known as the Four Profundities. So I'll try and explain, because that is the essence of the meaning of this sadhana. Okay, shall we begin?
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight through your compassionate intention. Your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you. May all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dharma flourish forevermore. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Namo Guru, Teacher, Blessed One, and the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, surrounded by your sons, the Buddhas of the 10 directions, and all bodhisattvas, I prostrate to this assembly, make offerings and go for refuge. Please empower me with your blessings. Namo Guru, Teacher, Blessed One, and the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, surrounded by your sons, the Buddhas of the 10 directions, and all bodhisattvas, I prostrate to this assembly, make offerings and go for refuge. Please empower me with your blessings. Namo Guru, Teacher, Blessed One, and the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, surrounded by your sons, the Buddhas of the 10 directions, and all bodhisattvas. I prostrate to this assembly, make offerings and go for refuge. Please empower me with your blessings.
Homage to the perfection of wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Thus I have heard. At one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha, on Mast Vulture's mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and nuns, and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomena, called profound illumination. At that time also, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, was looking perfectly at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, looking perfectly also at the 5 aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, "How should a son of the lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom?" Thus he spoke, and the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, replied to the Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequently, looking perfectly and correctly also at the 5 aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, having no characteristics. They are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement and no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mentality. No form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomenon. There is no I element and so forth, up to no mentality element, and also up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death and no exhaustion of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted awareness, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely upon and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing utterly beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. Also, all the Buddhas who reside perfectly in the 3 times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest and complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it is not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Shariputra, a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, that he had spoken well. Good, good, O son of the lineage, it is like that. Since it is like that, just as you have revealed, in that way the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, and that entire circle of disciples, as well as the worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha.
Can someone fix this for me? It's falling down. That just needs tightening. No, that's good. Seems tight. Okay. Okay, good. So in this, the verse before the one I mentioned, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence, also of the five aggregates. So what Avalokiteshvara is saying here, that we need to train in emptiness. We need to develop a realization of emptiness. Because emptiness is a deeply hidden object, you can't see emptiness. Emptiness is the ultimate nature of things, the ultimate nature of phenomena. All we see is what's called the conventional nature of phenomena. But the conventional nature of phenomena and the ultimate nature of phenomena are never separate. So if all we're seeing is the conventional nature of things, we never get to see the ultimate nature of things, emptiness. So how are we going to discover emptiness? What Avalokitesvara is saying is we should use this verse, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly. The word subsequently means we should use what's called a subsequent cognizer or an inferential cognizer. I try and explain what this means. Imagine if you're walking through the countryside and you see a cottage and you see smoke coming out of a chimney in the cottage. You can bet your life savings that there's a fire inside the cottage. Why? Because you can see a correct sign of the smoke coming out the chimney. There's no smoke without fire, right? And every time there's a fire, there's smoke. So the sign that there is smoke coming out of the chimney is an indication that there is a fire inside the cottage. So what we've done is to assume or infer that a fire, we can't see the fire, but we've developed an inference, what's called an inference or a subsequent cognizer, that there is actually a fire inside. And you can be assured that there's actually a fire. You can go and check and you'll see the fire. So in the same way, we can develop an inference of emptiness. We can infer that we can infer the emptiness of things. So what we see, and our normal view, is that things exist inherently from their own side. So when you're looking at anyone else in this room, you think they exist, their whole existence is encapsulated within how they appear. That's how they exist, yeah? They're completely independent of anything else, not affected by anything else, separate from everything. That's just who they are. And you think of yourself as in the same way, that you think that you just exist. When you think of yourself, you think of a single entity, completely independent from other things, and somehow permanent. You know, if you were going to, if you were falling from a great height, you'd be thinking of strongly wanting to protect yourself and preserve yourself. When you hear good news, and then you feel yourself gets elated. You have an image of who you are. But our problem is that we think that these images, these individuals, these other people, they exist in exactly the way in which they appear. Yeah? No? Is that how you think? You know, if you think of the person sitting next to you, you think that they exist in exactly the way in which you think about them. So, then in the as I say, in the first century, in the Common Era, Nagarjuna comes along with a logical process that will enable us to find a subsequent cognizer and develop an inference of emptiness, the ultimate nature of things. And what he says, if something exists in the way in which we see it, we'll be able to find it if we search for it. If something exists out there, and we search for it with wisdom, we should be able to find it if it really exists out there. So if you take your body, for example, if your body exists in the way in which you think about it, it's like a single thing. If we were to search for your body, where would we look? We would look within the parts of the body, or the collection of parts, or somehow separate from all the parts of your body. Yeah, these are the only places we need to look. Within each part, the collection of parts is separate from parts. So when we look at the individual parts of your body, thinking, is my arm my body? No, your arm is your arm. Is your leg your body? No, your leg is a leg. So what we find is all kinds of things that are not your body. Your inner organs are not your body, your heart is not your body, your head is not your body, and so on. Your chest is not your body. Normally if I asked you to point to your body, you'll do something like this. But this is your chest. This is not your body. So then some people would say, well, it's the collection of all these things together. But a collection of non-bodies is just a non-body. All these individual parts are non-bodies, and just a collection of non-bodies is still a non-body. And also, if we say, well, it's actually the collection itself that is the body, but the collection is just a collection of parts. If you take away all of the parts, what's left? Nothing. Nobody. Nobody. So the collection is just an idea. It's not really a thing. So we've not found the body within its parts anywhere. The only place left to look is for a body that exists separate from the parts. Unfortunately, you can't think of your body without thinking of at least one part. Yeah? Every time you have an image of your body, you're thinking of at least one part. And it only takes one part. You can think of your head and immediately you're thinking of the body. Because the head is part of the body. So what we've done, we've searched with wisdom everywhere, within the individual parts, within the collection of parts, separate from the parts. And we've not found the body that we normally see. All we have found is the unfindability of the body that we normally see. Isn't that cool? So you can stop worrying about your body. But this unfindability is like a generic image of the emptiness of your body. It's something that's pointing towards the emptiness of your body. So if you think of the body that you normally see, and then you realize that inherently existent body, that body that exists from its own side, in and of itself, cannot be found. We come to the realization it doesn't exist. So if we were meditating on that, we turn our attention back, once we've discovered that the body we normally see cannot be found and therefore doesn't exist, that image that we have of our body just dissolves away, dissolves into empty space. And what we're realizing at that moment is the emptiness of our body, the ultimate nature of our body. So we've used this inference, this inferential cognizer, like discovering the fire in the cottage. because we see the sign of the smoke. We discover emptiness because we realize the unfindability of what appears as the inherently existent body. In fact, there is no inherently existent body. There is no inherently existing anything. Ooh. So what we end up with is that the body that we normally see, which is the inherently existent body, the body that we normally see doesn't exist. But we don't say, we don't show, we don't prove that nothing exists. Of course, your body exists, but how does it exist? If it doesn't exist from its own side, how does it exist? It exists from the side of the mind that's observing the body. And that observation is simply an appearance to mind. So what we're saying is the body we normally see is simply an appearance to our own mind. But then you're going to say, but I can touch it. So, but touch is just an aspect of mind as well. I can smell it. It's just an aspect of mind. So we have these 5 senses of our eye sense power, our ear sense power, our nose sense power, our sense of taste and our sense of touch. And normally we think that anything that appears to those things must exist externally. But these things are just aspects of our mind. Our sense of smell, taste, touch, sight is just aspects of our mind. So things appear to these sense awarenesses, and we make the mistake of thinking they must be separate from my mind. And I think the reason that we do this, and we've been doing this since beginningless time, in life after life, and because of this, we create all kinds of problems for ourselves. Because if everything is coming from outside our mind, from its own side, and everything exists externally, then we get into the habit of dividing up our world into things that feel attractive and things that feel unattractive. So we develop attachment, we develop anger and hatred towards things we don't like, and attachment to things we do like. And these attachments and these minds of attachment and anger are the cause of all our problems. They're delusions. And we're not seeing the world, experiencing the world in a way when it actually exists. We're assenting to the view that those appearances truly exist when they don't. So you can imagine that if you came to realize this, that everything would be, you'd be experiencing everything just like when you're dreaming. When you're dreaming, you have various experiences and you have responses to those appearances. Yeah. Sometimes you feel delighted when particular things are appearing. Sometimes you feel fearful, humiliated, excited. You have all hosts of emotions while we're dreaming. We have a whole host of experiences while we're dreaming. And yet when we're waking up, we think, oh, it's just a dream. We know it didn't really exist. There was no elephant in your room when you're waking up. You don't see any sand if you're dreaming of a beach. It's just an appearance to your dreaming mind. So when we realize that the things we normally see don't exist from their own side, we realize they're just appearances to my waking mind. That's where the word Buddha comes from. Someone who's awakened from the sleep of ignorance. Someone who has come to realize the ultimate nature of things. But in the process of realizing the ultimate nature of things, we're not denying the conventional nature of things. Things do exist, but simply as appearances. If we could remember this phrase, although it appears, it does not truly exist. Although it appears, it does not truly exist. If we could remember that, we begin to solve all our problems. Because, for example, someone's shouting and screaming in your daily life. You have a difficult situation that you have to deal with every day. You just think, oh, this is just like a dream, just like a bad dream. Doesn't really exist. I can relax. Or when you're hearing excellent news, you just think, oh, this is just like a dream. I don't need to get too excited. So that's the purpose of this. When it says form is empty, and what Buddha Shakyamuni and Avalokiteshvara are doing is taking one of the 5 aggregates. There's the aggregate of form, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors and consciousness. They're known as the 5 aggregates. And a person is a self or an I that is imputed upon any of the 5 aggregates. So I've given you a job to remember these things. You have to remember the 5, and then you have to understand what imputing is. Imputing is we create an image of something with our mind in dependence upon the appearance of something else that is not it. So if a person is imputed upon any of the 5 aggregates, then the aggregate of form, which is the appearance to sense awarenesses, like their body. As soon as the body appears, we can say this is a person. We can create the idea of person just by seeing a body. Yeah. So in this room there are 15 persons. All I can see is bodies. Yeah. So the word impute, we create these images for ourselves. So this is the first profundity, the profundity of the ultimate. Form is empty and applies to all the other things that we see as well. In emptiness, going on to Shariputra like this, all phenomena are merely empty, having no characteristics. In other words, we're imputing phenomena. we're imputing conventional truths, and we're imputing characteristics upon these conventional truths. In reality, there's nothing coming from the side of what we perceive as the object. There's no objective reality. So the question is, why do some things appear and other things not? The answer to that question is karma. Everything that we experience is simply the result of the karmic potentialities that we've already created in all our past lives. We've created the karma to be here today, all together, listening to this teaching on emptiness of ourself and other things. So we've created the karma to be reborn as human beings. We've created the karma to be reborn in a wonderful city like Liverpool, and so on, etc., etc. We've created the karma to have particular parents, and so on. We've created the karma to have particular qualities of physical and mental qualities, attributes, and so on. So everything that we experience is being determined, or has been determined, by our previous actions, the actions we engaged in. If we engage in virtuous, beneficial actions that benefit other people, we create good karma. If we create hurtful actions, we create negative karma. So whether we're experiencing good conditions or bad conditions is dependent upon our karma. But also now, if we understand this, how everything is empty, we can just relax, even though in the face of difficult situations, there's no situation coming from its own side. All it is an appearance. And what we do is imputing something upon particular appearances. You know, when we're cold, for example, you ever feel cold? What we're doing is just imputing the word cold upon a particular experience of bodily experience. We could just turn around and just impute hot. There we go. Switch off the heating. So, you know, we can change difficult situations into pleasant situations just by changing our mind. And the problem is that we grasp an inherently existent self. If we come to realize that the self that we normally see doesn't exist, then what are we grasping at? What are we afraid of? You know, later it says, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely upon and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. There's nothing to be feared, because all there is just appearance. And as I said earlier, that we need both wings of the bird. We need both compassion and wisdom. With practicing the teachings on compassion, we gradually become more likely to engage in positive actions, virtuous actions that are the cause of peace and happiness. So only beautiful situations will begin to appear. Negative situations won't start to appear. And so we won't be imputing, oh, this is an unpleasant situation. So, well, okay, so in the next session then we're going to start by meditating on emptiness. We've reached the end of time for this session, but in the next session we're going to start by meditating on the emptiness of yourself. Okay? Thank you.